Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Shark House Entertainment with your host, Brian Gatto. And today I'm talking about The Last Voyage of the Demeter. This is a brand new 2023 theatrical release from director Andre Overhaul, or Overall, however you say his last name. He directed Troll Hunter, The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and some other stuff that I heard was also really good. And this is also really good. It's a really strong story with the characters, and more so them versus Dracula, instead of Dracula just being a monster that we focus on that's picking them off one by one. No, these are real characters, real people, not in real life, but you really feel for them. There are some, to get right into it, there are some very dark moments in this movie. Not just in terms of atmosphere and lighting, which I don't think it was too bad. It was pretty easy to see stuff. But with the characters, you're like, oh my gosh, I kind of wanted them to make it. Or why did they have to go out that way? It's so sad. There are some moments in this film I'm like, they're not going to do it. There's no way. They did it. Dracula looks great in this film. He definitely has a Nosferatu style. Like, his design is strictly bat-like. Really cool. I don't really understand how people are like, he can turn into a human if we never see that. Near the end of the movie, I won't spoil anything, but he is on land and people don't seem to notice him. Is he like, do people see him as a man if he wants them to? Or is he just a creature with a nice fashion sense? There's a lot of criticism coming with this movie, and I don't agree with a lot of it. One being the CGI is bad. I think one, maybe two shots are noticeably CGI. There's one where there's a close-up of his face, and it's like, yeah, it's obviously CGI, but I think when you're in the moment of the scene, it doesn't really detract from it because it's so intense. You're like, what's going to happen here? Oh my Lord, what? I can't expect, I don't know what's going to happen with all these twists and turns that have happened throughout this movie that subverted my expectations. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know who's going to survive. Is it going to kill this person? I think it makes you think of that more so than the noticeable CGI. Also, the accents are hard to understand. You people, my gosh, I don't think you have the ear for old-timey or even English accents, because the accents here were not that hard to understand. There may be a couple lines into the song they say near the beginning. I didn't understand a lyric, but it's not that hard. Like, there's it's a little tweaked to be old-timey, but it's easy enough to understand. I think they're trying to gripe about stuff that's not really there. And the big one I hear, is that this film is boring and that nothing happens for an hour. Do we see the same movie? Like, it's, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes when you first see the vampire. It's not necessarily a full-on shot, but you get glimpses of him. And stuff is happening around that to make the vampire come out. And there's all this other stuff with, like, a woman that was a stowaway. But it's really, but what it really is that, well, you don't want to spoil it, but it's the reason Dracula gets out, and she's discovered fairly early on. And, I don't know, 45 minutes in or so, I looked at my watch, I'm like, yep, someone's dying around this time. It's not an hour before anything happens. It's literally like 20 minutes. And even before that, it's interesting enough and fast-paced enough to really capture your attention. And these people love Alien. I get that it's a classic, but that doesn't excuse it for being boring sometimes. I've seen it enough to really embrace the boringness. This doesn't have a lot of boring scenes. Everything feels needed. There is one scene where a guy talks about how there's no more rats on the boat, but I'm like, that was like the one scene I was like, didn't really need that. I kind of figured there were no more rats. I didn't see them around anymore. It could have been like a throwaway line, but this was like an actual scene. Oh well. Other than that, film flowed flying. Yeah, it's a really strong effort. I don't think people are being fair to it. I think they're just being overly critical. And I love that this is just a log of the book Dracula that was drawn out to a 2-hour movie. People are like, oh, it could have been half an hour shorter. I'm like, I don't think so. I think an hour 45 would have been fine. But then again, I wouldn't take out many of the scenes. There are some scenes in here that desperately needed to be in here that I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to do. I was like, are they going to really push the envelope that much? They do. It's heartbreaking. The music by Bear McCreary, first off, buying the album for the soundtrack on Amazon is like $12, I think. It's only like 30 minutes of music and 10 songs. Make it $10, not 12. That's a ridiculous amount, maybe even 9. And his music, I know it's Bear McCreary and his music is good in the film, but there's only like 10 songs. I know there was some other stuff in there too. I'm pretty sure that they didn't include it on the soundtrack and they're charging you up the ass for it. The music is good is what I'm trying to say, but it's not $12 good for that amount of music. Still, great soundtrack. It was heart-ripping when it needed to be. And intense also when it needed to be. There's shadow play, there's the creature hiding, and you see it and then disappears when you look again. Great stuff. Classic horror stuff. It felt good. It felt good watching it. Not like it felt like it was a great experience to watch. You're all happy at the end. No, it's a sad movie. But this and Renfield are two great vampire movies. Two totally different tones. Same company. Go figure. But yeah, I would definitely check out The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Don't listen to the hate. Go into it with an open mind. Or actually, go into it with low expectations like I did. You'll have a great time. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you all for watching Shark House Entertainment. I've been Brian Gatto. I'm still Brian Gatto. I don't know why people say I've been, but still. Make sure to hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe.